All right, so this is our last review section. This is over circles. Many of you should remember circles from geometry, but the definition of a circle is a set of all points in the Cartesian plane that are a fixed distance r from a fixed point hk. The distance r is your radius, and the fixed point hk is your center. It's called hk so you don't confuse it with an edge of the circle, which will be just a regular x and y. So the standard form of the equation of a circle is as follows. So we've got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, so let's go through and do some practice with this. So first of all, determine the equation with the given radius and center. So if your radius is 5 and your center, so this is your h and this is your k. So you're just going to plug it in. So x minus 9 squared, y minus -4 squared equals r squared. All you have to do is plug it in and then clean it up. So this is going to stay negative, so this is x minus 9 squared. Two negatives make a positive, so this is y plus 4 squared, and 5 squared is 25. And that's the equation of that circle. So there's really not a lot to it other than just plugging it in and simplifying it. So here I've got my h and my k this time are zeros. So this is going to be x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared equals 1 squared. When the center has anything to do with 0, it just cancels out because x minus 0 is just x, so this would be x squared plus y squared. 1 squared is just 1, and there is your equation of your circle. All right. Now, what if I wanted you to graph it? Okay, well, I'm going to give you the equation, and you're going to give me the information back. So the center is, since this says plus 5, that means it was a -5 because I had to get two negatives to make a positive. So they're always going to be opposite. If it's negative here, it's going to be positive here. So my center is going to be -5, 2. And if this number right here represents your r squared, so if r squared is 16, you have to take the square root of that to get r. So you have to take the square root of 16 and you get 4. So from this point, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I made that bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just draw your circle. Yours may be a little wonky, but that's okay. I was able to use a tool to make this one. All right. The next problem, and if I go too fast, obviously you can push pause and you can stop so you have time to write. So graph this one. So now I need the center. So the opposite of -4 is 4. There is no number here, so it is 0. This number is your r squared. So if r squared is 9, then r is 3. So my center is 4, 0. And my radius is 3. So you're just going to go 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 bottom, and then connect your dots, making your circle. And don't worry about it if your circle's not perfect. I am more worried about the math than I am the picture. All right, distance formula. This is from geometry. Please note that when we're finding the distance is either going to be the length of your radius or the length of your diameter. So the distance today, so distance will be radius or diameter length. So that is going to be our distance. So here I have the center and the edge. Okay, so they've given us the center and they've given us an edge. So this segment right here is actually representing our radius. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 points and the distance formula to find the length of our radius. So the length of our radius is going to be 1 minus 5, so those are my x values squared, plus -3 minus -3 squared, and then we take the square root because that's the formula. So you get -4 squared plus 2 negatives make a positive, so that becomes 0 squared. And -4 squared, remember negative inside of parentheses becomes positive, so this is 16 plus 0. The square root of 16 is 4. So that means our radius is 4. So now if they're wanting us to find the equation, we're going to take the center. So our center is that 1, -3. Our radius is 4. So now this looks like the very first problem we did. So now we've got x minus 1 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 16. Because if r is 4, then r squared is 16. And there is the equation for this circle. All right. Now, if I give you the center and a point without the picture, you do it the exact same way. So the very first thing you have to do is you have to find the length of your radius. So 2 and 6 are my x values, so 2 minus 6. 5 and 8 are my y values. And I'm just going to plug them in. So I've got 2 minus 6, which is -4 squared. 5 minus 8 is -3 squared. -4 squared is 16. -3 squared is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. So my radius is 5. The center, so that's my h and my k. So that's going to be x minus 2 squared, y minus 5 squared equals, if r is 5, then r squared is 25. And there's the equation of that circle. And I'm going to try to get it drawn on here. So my center is 2, 5, so 2, 5. So there's my center. So that's your h and your k. And my radius is 5, so I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're at 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to use my circle tool. Oops. Go back. Use the circle tool. And there we go. So I'm going to go down here. We're going to do it one more time. So we have the center. So our center is at h and k. And this time we have this point xy. So I'm going to find the distance of my radius. So my x values are 3 and -3. So 3 minus -3 squared. -4 minus -2 squared. Take the square root. 2 negatives make a positive. 3 plus 3 is 6. 2 negatives make a positive. -4 plus 2 is -2. So this is 36 plus 4. So this is the square root of 40. Now, the square root of 40 is not a perfect square. So what I'm going to have to do is find the square root of 40. So if I figure out the square root of 40, it's about 6.3. So this is about 6.3. That way I can graph it because I can't graph the square root of 40.
Kinsley James, your mother is waiting for you.
So I'm going to go up here to the center. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just doing 6 because it's 6.3. It's close enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be close enough for us to just graph for this assignment. All right, now, what is the equation? So the equation is going to be my center. So if my radius is square root of 40, then the radius squared is just 40. So I've got x minus 3 squared, y plus 4 squared equals 40. So anytime you find the radius, square it, and you get the radius squared for the equation. All right, now the next one is midpoint. So the only time you're going to need to find the midpoint is when they don't give you the center. Okay, so to find the midpoint, you add your x values and divide by 2, add your y values and divide by 2. So we're going to take the two endpoints of our diameter. So we have our two endpoints of our diameter. We're going to add them together and divide by 2, and that's going to tell us what the center is. Then we're going to use the distance formula. So first you're going to do midpoint, then you're going to go back and do distance, and then you're going to write your equation. So there's 3 steps. So first, I'm going to add these 2 points together. It says to take the x values and add them together, take the y values and add them together. So I'm just going to write them vertically. 3 plus 5 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. Then it says divide by 2. So if I do that, I get 4, 5. So this is my center. So step 1, find your center. Step 2, using your center in one of these points, find the length of your radius. So 4 minus 3 squared, 5 minus 6 squared, take the square root, 1 squared plus negative 1 squared. 1 plus 1 is 2, so the square root of 2. So if my radius is the square root of 2, then my radius squared is just 2. So now the next step is to write the equation. X minus 4, because I have to take my center, y minus 5 equals 2, because the formula is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So here is the equation to that circle. All right, let's try one more. So the diameter. So these are the diameters. So 1, 2, and negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the diameter. So I need the center of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the midpoint. So step 1, find your midpoint. 1, 2, negative 3, 4. So add these two together. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. And take half. Negative 2 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2. So there's your center. So negative 1 and 3 is our center. So right there is the center. Now you're going to do the distance formula to find that radius. So the distance formula is going to be negative 1 plus, nope, take that back. So it's going to be negative 1 minus 1 squared. 3 minus 2 squared. Take the square root. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 2 squared is 4. 1 squared is 1. So this is the square root of 5. So your radius is the square root of 5. So that means the radius squared is just 5. Let's scroll this up a little bit. So now my actual equation is going to be x plus 1 squared, y minus 3 squared equals 5. And then now that we know that this is the center, you can find out that the square root of 5, so if you were to look for the square root of 5, you get 2.2. So since the square root of 5 is approximately 2.2. Then from this here, you could go 1, 2, go down 2, left 2, right 2, so here, so about right here. And then when you draw your circle, again, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be something along those lines. All right, last one. So they give us the diameter and the edge again. So step 1, find your center. So write your points down, -1 and 8, 5 and 6. Add them together. So that's 4 and 14. Then take half. It's 2 and 7. So here's your center. Step 2, use the distance formula to find that radius. So 2 minus -1 squared, 7 minus 8 squared. So 2 negatives make a positive. So 3 squared plus -1 squared is 9 plus 1, which is 10. So my radius is the square root of 10. So the square root of 10 is 3.2. So this is about 3.2. So when I plot this, I'm going to graph a radius a little more than 3. But first I'm going to write my equation. So x minus 2 squared, y minus 7 squared, because remember your center is over here. So if r is the square root of 10, so if r is the square root of 10, then r squared is just 10. All right, so 2, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And like I said, it's just a generic, so somewhere in there, and that will give you the graph of your circle, the equation of your circle. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Talk to y'all later. Goodbye.